A new report says Christians in China are being held in secretive brainwashing camps. The report in Radio Free Asia says communist officials are targeting Christians and are trying to force them to renounce their faith. China is home to an estimated roughly 9 million Catholics and 68 million Protestants. Joining us now is Gordon Chang, author of both The Coming Collapse of China and The Great U.S.-China Tech War. Gordon, welcome back. Always great to have you on. What more do we know about this report?
Well, this report mirrors things that we have heard throughout China. What China's been doing is setting up these secret detention facilities, which appear to be temporary. But these temporary facilities actually can be long-term. So, for instance, one person was held in one of these facilities for almost 10 months. And that's a real indication that these facilities are basically permanent. Now, we also got to remember, Tracy, that China started building these mass detention camps for the Uyghurs around 2017. But before they did that, their repression of the Uyghurs very much is similar to what we're seeing with these temporary detention facilities for Christians. And so the question is whether China will go to a bigger sort of facility for Christians. I'm not saying that they will, but there is a pattern here, and we've got to be very concerned.
You know, one of the things I want to talk about right now is the Olympics in Beijing. A State Department representative in the U.S. alluded to a possible boycott of the Beijing Olympics next year. Can you give us an update on that? And if that were to happen, how do you think China would respond?
Well, there's more and more talk that there will be some sort of action from the administration. And this contrasts with what the administration was saying in its first weeks in office, where it said that there was no talk of a boycott, no talk of any sort of action with regard to the Winter Olympics next year. I think something has to happen because it's clear that China is committing acts of genocide as defined in the 1948 Genocide Convention. And that convention requires signatories, which include the United States, to prevent and punish acts of genocide. So something's going to have to occur. I don't know exactly what form it will be, but I think the American people are going to demand that the administration do something about the Olympics.
Another thing that's really on top of mind, too, right now, the U.S. military is warning that China seems to be accelerating its timetable for capturing control of Taiwan and stepping up a show of force in that region. Can you talk about that and the activity that's taking place now?
We are seeing almost daily incursions into Taiwan's air defense identification zone by large formations of Chinese planes, both nuclear-capable H-6K bombers and others. Also, right at this moment, China's Liaoning, which is its first aircraft carrier, with its support groups, is very close to Taiwan. And so there is increasing military pressure. This has been occurring now for about 4 months. And, you know, at some point, Beijing is going to have to do something because it's creating a marker for itself with the Chinese people.
Gordon, how would you like the Biden administration to respond? What would you like to see?
I think the Biden administration has to do something it doesn't want to do, and that is to say to the Chinese, both in private and in public, that the United States will defend Taiwan. If we make that clear, I think China will be deterred. We didn't say that in 1950 when North Korea was threatening to invade South Korea, and we know what happened there. We also didn't say that in 1990 when Saddam Hussein was threatening to invade Kuwait. Our ambassador, April Glaspie, basically told Saddam, look, the United States isn't going to do anything. So those are two wars that could have been prevented by clear declarations of American intent. We need to do the same thing because now, if there is a conflict, it would be so much more destructive than in 1950 or 1990.
Well, unfortunately, we have to leave it right there. Thank you so much, Gordon. Gordon Chang, author of The Coming Collapse of China and The Great U.S.-China Tech War. Thanks again.
Thanks, Tracy.